Come on, CJ.
To everyone he meets, he stays a stranger. With every move he makes, another chance he takes. Odds are he won't live to see tomorrow. Secret agent man, secret agent man, giving you a number and taking away your name.
All right, Secret Agent Man here on the 19th of August. That's our new opening. That's our new opening. We've practiced all weekend.
We practiced all minute before the show started.
Before the show started. And actually, I'm not the secret agent, man.
You're not the secret.
No.
Oh, I thought you
But
were.
our guest, our topic,
Our topic, yes.
Our guest topic.
our guest topic today is the secret agent man on the 19th of August, 2013, a manic Monday. If Monday's ever been manic. Hi, CJ. Hello.
Hi, Tom.
Hi, everybody back there. How you doing?
Hi, fabulous bunker boys.
Once again, secret agent man. That is.
I told you, you have to give us drinks if you want us to sing on the show.
That's right, you do.
Yeah.
Okay, yes, that's good.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Instead of TrentoVision, it'll be karaoke vision. Oh, here we go again.
I got happy feet whenever I hear that. Just getting in the groove. It is Monday, 19 August, 2 minutes after 5 p.m. in the afternoon, WNN 1470. That's our radio station. They're going, what, are we playing top 40 or oldies? Are we
times.
playing
Yeah,
oldies?
this goes
They
up
go,
back to the 60s.
Duff's going,
Johnny
That's
Rivers.
not an oldie.
you know.
Goes back to Johnny Rivers. Yeah.
Is that Johnny Rivers?
Johnny
That was in
Rivers.
the
Secret
60s.
agent man.
That was a television show, right? I think it was
No,
I
no,
don't
it wasn't
know. Was
Secret
it?
Agent.
Oh, it was just a
No,
movie.
I Spy is what you're thinking of. Is a
It
television
was
show.
just a song, but it was about something in the 60s. So
Yeah, well, they had the whole James Bond spy thing
All that
going
stuff.
on. You know, Russians are enemy, and you know.
Well, the issue today is a particular person, a Muslim opponent of ours, Ahmed Bedier. Is he a secret agent, basically? Is he an agent for the Muslim Brotherhood, an international agent, on assignment for the Brotherhood in here to influence the Obama administration to continue support of the Muslim Brotherhood worldwide? That's the question we're asking today. Going to be a very interesting show.
I know, there's a lot of stuff here.
So who is Ahmed Bedier?
Well,
Tom?
we've banged heads with him for
He brought
many
us all
years.
together.
Yes, he
Yes.
did. He brought us all
Yeah, if it
together.
weren't for him, we never would have met.
That's right.
That's true. A few months back. A few years back. Joe Kaufman, the intrepid investigative reporter, has been tracking Bedier for over 10 years. And we're going to get into the details of who Ahmed Bedier is. His brother Amir was killed almost a week ago, last Wednesday, the 14th of August, killed in Cairo. And his brother was shot a couple of years ago in Cairo. And when you start piecing together the elements of the Bedier family, the chaos on the ground in Egypt, the fact that they're Egyptian, the role Ahmed has played in America with sympathetic organizations sympathetic to terrorism, and organizations that are terrorists, you kind of get a clear picture. That's our job. Part 1 today on Monday, part 2 tomorrow on the 20th August. 2 days. Why is this so important? Ahmed Bedier wields a tremendous amount of influence with the Democrat Party in the state of Florida, with the Democrat Party nationally, and he's one of the definitive leaders of the 2.3 million Muslims in America. If he is indeed a Muslim Brotherhood operative, that has national security implications. That's our show for today. But before we get into all of that stuff, how was everybody's weekend?
It's good.
Mark, you had a little special thing that I want you to share. Your brother's in town.
Yes, you are now on the
Yes,
spot.
I'm on the spot. Yeah. Well,
Throw your little camera on so people can see you.
I don't want people to see me.
Oh.
I haven't done my
Oh,
hair
he's
yet. I haven't done my
camera shy
makeup.
today.
I haven't done my
Okay,
makeup
so
done or
sure.
Oh, who do you sound like?
nothing. There you go.
Oh, there
Oh,
you
look
go.
at you.
Okay.
Hi,
How come
hi,
you have better
everybody.
lighting than we do?
he is
Because
like-
I am the camera operator. I have the,
Yeah, he's like,
technology.
Look at that.
I know, it's
I
a
know,
great
I know,
picture.
Yeah, he's not
Here
even
we
wearing
are.
makeup.
In
Yeah.
the waste,
Oh,
in
man.
light wasteland.
Yeah.
What happened? You and your brother were up in
my father was
Kansas?
Mark, Kansas. We were in Mark, Kansas, and
When you're talking, then the camera's supposed to be.
yeah, I know.
There you
But-
go.
No, we were up in Mark, Kansas, Arkansas, and my father, who headed a unit in Vietnam, supplied 70% of the ammunition to the theater in Vietnam between 1968 and 1969. Got a special award which had been lacking for years, and they get awarded a meritorious unit commendation for a reserve unit, which is extremely rare. But they finally got it after, what is it, 40 years? What is that? So,
Wow.
Yeah, so it's got lost in the paperwork, lost in the shuffle. So they got it, and it's a
44 years.
Yes, and it was a award that came down from the president, to the Department of the Army, all
The
the way
President
president of
Obama?
what?
President Nixon.
Oh.
Back then. So
Okay.
anyway,
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, I know it wasn't this one.
yeah. So, but it's a very distinguished award, and my father was like a George Patton over the unit, and took a bunch of kids who didn't know anything and whipped them into shape, and they had a memorial tribute to him because he just passed away a year ago, and came out really nice.
Congratulations. Very,
Well, thank
very
you.
good. Yeah,
Very
those.
nice. Do you have it? Can
we see it, or?
Can we see
No.
it? Or no, you don't
No.
have it here.
No, I don't have it.
The Vietnam War was conscripts. It wasn't a volunteer
No.
army. It was.
No, they're
Hey, what are you doing? Nothing. Okay, guess
You want
what?
me to do what?
You're on your way to Da Nang. Okay. If you were in school, you got a student deferment. If you were 1A, you were going, and most of the people did not want to be there, so whipping them into shape was very important. But-
He brought everyone back home alive. That was the big thing. So,
That's where Mark gets it.
yeah.
Well, and that war was a bizarre
Right?
war
Yeah, right.
because really all the major battles fought by any of our service groups were won. The battles were won. The middle, obviously, it
The
was
good old days.
even fighting the NVA, Soviet-sponsored NVA and equipped. We won all the battles,
Right.
but it was lost in Washington, D.C. Sad
Trivially.
situation.
Yeah, one of the interesting things I just want to say one other thing about it is the systems that they put in place during that 1 to 2 year period were still being used today in the Iraq War. I found that quite interesting.
In terms of distribution of ammunition?
Well, yeah, they were actually, doing, projected, ammunition distribution by what unit would get what bullets before they actually needed them. And it was and they wrote a whole computer program before there were even computers and did it all manually by hand. And now they're doing it, with
Wow.
computers. So it's kind of cool.
Wow.
Toward the end of that war, this is in the 70s now, when there was a transition to the Vietnamization, letting the South Vietnamese fight their own battle, the troops were given 60 rounds per week. 60
Right.
rounds per week of ammunition, which was completely ridiculous.
Right.
60 rounds you can fire off in 60
In
seconds.
right.
So, all right, well, that was very good. Good job, and you guys should be proud of your dad. We know you are.
Hey.
That's the good news stuff. Bad weekend around the globe. Does everybody agree with me? Does everybody agree with me? Does everybody agree with me?
I
Yes. Yes, we all
very
On
rarely
what?
agree with you.
Does
never
everybody
disagree
agree
with
with
you.
you
The
about
friggin'
what?
Arab Spring is dead, okay? There is no Arab Spring. It's a joke. We knew it from the beginning.
It sprung a big leak.
It sprung a gigantic leak. It was a scam from the beginning. It's a disaster. And all particularly the Democrat intellectual elites, this is the quest and the thirst of freedom and democracy by the Arabs. And the world is in a unbelievably chaotic state due to Islamic doctrine, due to jihadis wanting to kill each other. And the fact of the matter is, there ain't going to be, democracy doesn't exist in a vacuum. It doesn't just float around the air and you go, let's grab this and try it for a while. Part of what we're going to do over the next 2 days is make the point that in the Arab Islamic culture, democracy is never a given. In fact, the preponderance of the evidence historically and in the last 2 years where we can empirically verify it is Arab Muslims don't understand democracy, don't want democracy, and whatever their view of democracy is, it has nothing to do with what we in the West understand democracy to be. Arab Spring, dead and gone. We're going to show you a video, not yet, a couple of minutes, that we did 2 years ago. And we said this 2 years ago. We're so brilliant. No. I mean, you just look at this stuff. But there's some other stuff.
But you are.
Something was going on earlier when we were getting ready for the show. You had some scary news.
Keeping you abreast of
that's
the
what it
news.
was. This is a play on words. Guess what the operative word is in that one?
Right.
It isn't news. The headline is breast implants, suicide bomb threat, Heathrow on high alert over credible intelligence.
Yep. I'm volunteering for the TSA to do the searches for that one there, CJ. So
yeah.
Let me get this straight.
But you cannot test
suicide bombs. Yeah, suicide bombs hidden
Muslim.
in breast implants.
Yes.
Yeah. Inappropriate to check a Muslim woman for this. You can only check the non-Muslim women's. They're very pious.
This is a little tricky.
Yeah, this is
tricky.
this is equal opportunity for women because they were jealous of the ass bombs that the men were using. So,
Okay. And it has to be trained, specialized individuals to check for these. And I volunteer for the training. So
That's right. From now on, when you buy your airline tickets, you're going to have to disclose.
No, this is serious.
You're going to have to disclose whether or not you have breast implants, so they can segregate you when you get to the airport. Step over to the curtained area, please.
Here on TrentoVision on the United West on this Monday, 19 August at 12 minutes after 5 o'clock. There's a very serious note here. We have intelligence coming out of Heathrow in England, the main airport in London. We have intelligence that they're on high alert for breast bombs.
Breast bombs. Yeah.
Breast bombs, implants.
Yeah.
Now, let's go back a little bit and let's think through what the implantation kind of protocols were, okay? So you got the guys, all the Muslim guys are sitting around smoking some sort of hookah pipes, and they go, we need to blow up X.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And they have their engineers there. They all have engineering.
They want to blow up the plane.
Because they all came here.
Turban bomb done. Ass bomb done.
Right.
Give me another hit
Shoe
of the
bomb
pipe.
done.
We need sort of an impact where there's two explosions at once going out, and we want to do
That's their MO.
the field of fire has to be that
See
way.
how he
180
has his hands
degrees.
positioned already.
And if we could, we'd like to have a charge being a little less on one side than the other side. Where can we put these bombs? And then Sister Aisha walks by with the Turkish coffee for the day.
Aisha.
And they go, Aisha, Mujahideen, you want to be holy warrior, right? And do you have anything there? And they go, okay.
Good news and bad news.
Your 4 husbands are going to love you, but not for a long time. Goodness. But just think, they go, okay, we need 4 pounds, and Aisha's out there like this, climbing into the thing. Oh,
They're going to have really, really big breasts for like a couple of weeks.
The men will love you for a couple of weeks. Yeah, what do you think, Abdullah, about using women's breasts to kill the infidel?
If that is what it takes, that is what it takes. If she is willing, inshallah, Takbir to her.
Women's breasts have killed many infidel. But
It would not be the first.
this is sort of a play. Different
Your
twist
Turkish
on it.
friend that you showed a video last week has been doing it for years.
I can't wait till somebody asks me what I did at work today.
Your Adnak friend from Turkey.
That's right.
He's been doing
there
it.
you go.
Different mode, different way, but very similar
Yeah,
result.
he's probably got them people lined up for some serious tactical work. All right. Hi, everybody. Tom Trento here. Thank all of you for joining our show. It's growing on the radio side. As you know, we produce this 1-hour television show. It's television because you're watching it on your computer, or if your computer's hooked up to your television, though we may be on some television networks in the near future. You never know that.
we may be.
Or your mobile device.
And it's also simulcast on a very large radio station. So we're hitting thousands upon thousands upon thousands of people per day. And
Right.
more and more are tuning in. We ask you right now, if you like what you're seeing and hearing, and how could you not, make it a point just to tell one friend to start watching the show or listening to the show. And how could they do that?
And subscribe.
How could they, how give them all the logistical stuff. I'm drinking my...
Brandy.
Okay, well, they can listen on WNN 1470 AM. They can download iHeart Radio
That's right.
on their smartphones, which is easy. I did it. They can.
Things right there.
Oh, look at that. Yeah. They can watch on TrentoVision.tv or TeaPartyCommunity.com.
That's right.
.com.
And
And they can also click on, we have
Bare
a
Nak-
click, we're
Bare Nak-
clickable on Bare Naked Islam.
that's right.
Are we?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
And
Bonnie, way to go.
Yeah. Thank you very much. And also you can, if you miss the show at 5 o'clock Eastern, you can catch us in the archives at youtube.com/theunitedwest.
I want to hear about some Muslim Brotherhoods.
We can hear about that too.
Also, you could visit us at theunitedwest.org, and while you're there, click that Donate Securely button.
Yeah, we're making a big push now, folks, for the remainder of the year.
Think
So
36.
$36 minimum. That's a good number. $36 minimum, please, for August, September, October, November, December. 5 months. What's that? $150, $160, something like that. $170.
It's a little bit.
Yes, it's a lot to us. Nobody
That's
gets
right.
paid. We're all the money goes into cheap wine and cigars and.
It does not.
all
We
this
haven't
equipment.
had any
I know.
cheap wine or
We
cigars around
I
here
know.
for like 2 months at least.
I know. It's been slim pickings.
We're on water
We
rations.
we
okay?
buy the airtime, and then and the donations help keep us on the air.
Right.
And more and more people are getting involved, saying, "I've got to do something to save America, save Israel, save the West." And we're getting them involved in different organizations. We don't. The United West is not a large organization. We don't want a bunch of members, anything like that. We're a force multiplier.
Yeah.
We're national security experts, communication experts, and we're taking the folks and placing them in their locale in a very tactical way in which they can impact the election in 443 days from today.
443.
43.
It's like
Wow.
in a similar way we did in the last election.
Yep.
Where
That's less time than it took the
know.
hostages to get freed from
That's
Iran.
right. It's 444.
Yeah.
So we ask you to share the show with people and go to the website theunitedwest.org. Donate
I
securely.
tell you one other thing.
36
I tell you
or
one other
more.
thing though, because a lot of people who watch or listen, they take a look at what's going on around the world and they say, you know what, this is all down the tubes anyway. It's all hopeless, and I don't even want to be involved. Well, if that's how you feel, and it's perfectly understandable, think about what we're doing this way. We are creating a historical record of the truth of our times.
good point.
Okay? And if for nothing else, it's critically important that we continue to do so, because you cannot go to any mainstream and hardly even any non-mainstream news sources and learn what you're hearing here. And I think it's very important.
It's a very good point, because we have done over 500 one-hour shows, and we have laid down a historic record with very unique newsmakers, very unique activists, and we're not a news organization. We're not fair and balanced. We're heavily opinionated. We're advocates. So whereas you go watch, a Sunday news, and it's like this: "How are you today?"
How are you today, Bob? How are you today,
They're not
Tom?
going to play
They're
secret
not fair
agent
and
man,
balanced
that's
either,
for sure.
Tom.
Well, they act
Well,
like they're fair
good
and
point.
balanced.
Yes, Egypt's
Good
a problem.
point.
Sure,
Yeah.
it is a problem.
Yeah.
And do you think there's a
Okay.
Muslim Brotherhood that actually does exist, Bob?
Yes, Joe, I think so. Pete,
Well,
how
no,
are
I
you?
don't think so,
Okay.
Pete says no, so it means no.
They-
Coming up
means
next,
no.
the
Well, when you
weather.
say Muslim Brotherhood, you mean there's a lot of Muslims that have brothers. Yes,
Yes,
you're right.
Yeah.
Look,
No,
that's
these bunch of
snooze
idiots.
news.
Snooze
News. We make jihad fun.
It's heavily
Make you laugh.
everything that you're missing from censorship, that's what we're covering.
Yes.
Yep.
And
Well, we're actually
Except
And
for
then
curse
some.
words.
Like our next video, we actually tell you the truth before it happens. And it usually comes, and now all the mainstream media have actually started saying, oh, it was a Muslim Brotherhood takeover at the time. And it's like, duh, we knew this, 6 months before
well,
you did.
we shot this, I think, on the 10th
Yeah.
of February, 2011.
Right.
2 years for March, April, May, June, July, 2.5 years ago.
Yeah.
Wow. We shot this 2.5 years ago. I look 2.5
Where
years
does the
younger.
time
Where does the
go?
years
Where does the time fly?
And we're just going to play, I think it's like a 10 or 12 minute video. It's called Fight the Muslim Brotherhood. But we're going to show you a minute or two to set the stage for our topic today. Is Muslim Florida leader, Ahmed Bedier, a
Muslim
Muslim
Brotherhood
Brotherhood
operative.
a
Muslim Brotherhood operative.
Some
A
music
secret
in my
agent,
Is-
man.
is Ahmed
I
Bedier
have the other one
a
queued. I have the
You
other
know,
one
the guy
queued.
can only queue one thing at a
Oh,
time.
okay.
Send more money in
Send
if you
more
want us
money
to
if
be
you
able
want
to
more
queue two
views.
videos at once.
Okay.
Is
Here's
Ahmed Bedier, Florida Muslim leader, a secret agent man? That's the question.
Donate securely or we'll continue
We will
singing
play this
Forever.
forever.
ever.
In fact, let's just do that.
Monetization.
Let's just keep it until we hear. We see
That's
the
why we have to have a two-part show.
Oh, we're going to kill it now or what?
Yeah, we gotta kill it.
Why?
Gotta
Why?
kill it. We have like a show.
Do we really?
23 minutes
Hold
after
on.
5 o'clock. Is this guy?
Is this guy? I don't
This
mean
guy.
him. No, not him.
Is this guy?
Oh, this guy.
This guy,
Is this guy? Yeah, he is that guy.
Cheryl Joy,
We're
and a
overloading.
blank screen.
We're overloading our director. All right. Anyway, back here and here we go. Is Ahmed Bedier, Florida resident, international traveler? Is he an agent for the Muslim Brotherhood? When we say an agent, we're talking about in the statecraft of the spy game. There are spies that are covert, and you don't even know who they are, and they're stealing stuff from wherever and doing whatever. But then there are agents of influence that are overt. Their job is to influence a particular mindset. In this case, the Obama administration.
Okay.
And truth is secondary to influence. So the question we're asking, is Ahmed Bedier an agent of influence for the Muslim Brotherhood, where he sits in meetings with Muslim Brotherhood leaders and they say, Ahmed, we need this individual to buy into our plan on this particular day. Here's the money, go get it done. Is that happening? Is that something that's a possibility? Well, we're going to evaluate all the information, connect the dots. You be the judge. We've already made
Now,
up
I
our
got a
mind.
question. I got a question for you. Typically, an agent of influence, a stealth jihadi, or anybody, whatever organization you're from, is that is that person overt, or does he just covert and be nice and friendly and outwardly smiley all the time?
Good point, Mark.
Or
Good
how,
point.
How does that
This
actually,
is this is
Hiding
the
in
hide.
plain
This
view.
is the hide in plain sight kind of guy.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the person you would have who's, makes a lot of contacts, makes a lot of inroads into politics, always looking for a camera or something like that.
Anwar al-Awlaki.
Yeah,
Prior.
and the question is, how is this type of work
Or
any
Al
different
Ludi.
than a typical lobbyist in Washington D.C.?
Right.
Because people go, oh, he's a lobbyist.
He's an
Well,
Islamic lobbyist, right?
it doesn't quite work that way because there's federal law that guides lobbying
Right.
of Congress. There's federal law that guides the influx of foreign money to influence the United States government. So if indeed he's getting foreign money, which may or may not be true, to influence the American government, there's all kinds of violations.
I don't
of
think he
federal
needs
law.
foreign money
I
to
have-
influence this United States government
No.
because they're willing participants in this whole Muslim Brotherhood.
I have a great quote from Ahmed
relationship.
Bedier on lobbying, speaking about lobbying.
Read that, then we're going to show the video, and then we're going to start putting together a 2-day dossier on Ahmed Bedier, and then you can be the judge as to whether or not he's an agent for the
Yeah,
brotherhood.
this is straight from his mouth. Lobbying and advocacy is like sales. You want to sell a product, you have to sell it. Nobody's going to come buy your product just because you have it if nobody knows about it. AIPAC, the American Israel Public Affairs Committee, and some of these other groups that are raising money to advocate for their position, their pro-Israel position, are having to spend millions and millions of dollars to be able to sell a shady product. They're selling a lemon. They're selling the worst product in the world. A product that creates more violence, a product that creates more insecurity, a product that doesn't create any type of peace. A losing product that is going downhill that you have to pump more and more money into in order to save it. But that's what they're selling, and that's why every year they have to raise more and more money to convince and fool more and more people of the shady product.
Oh, that's great. He started explaining what lobbying is. Then his Jew his Jew hate button got pushed,
Sure.
and he goes off just on this. He can't help it. He just goes off, and shady lemon, no good product. So the question is,
He considers himself a lobbyist.
Yes.
He certainly and he has acted as a lobbyist many times, and you have him on tape, and I have him on tape as a lobbyist.
well, some of the best agents of influence were, as you were saying, hiding in clear sight as something that they're almost, while their real plan is more diabolical and devious. But let's put down on the record the question. How does Ahmed Bedier view Jewish people and the state of Israel? That's something we're going to take a look at. But we're gonna go this in sort of a chronological sequence. This is one of our investigative reports here on TrentoVision, the United West, and we've spent a lot of time with Ahmed Bedier through the years. So stay with us for these 2 shows. If it takes longer, we'll do a 3rd show, folks, because this is critically important. For the last 3 years, where American laws for American courts was introduced in the state of Florida.
Right.
Mr. Bedier positioned himself in opposition to it, and notwithstanding the fact that he may have had some influence in its defeat, he's taken full credit for its defeat every time.
Yeah.
And that's a law for all Americans. And that's just one little deal. He also is developing, creating, and multiplying, planting Muslim days in state capitals around the United States based upon the model he built here.
And
Yeah.
also, he's through his organization, the United Voices. He's actually planting people inside Tallahassee as aides and assistants. How to lobby your
A
congressman.
bunch
how-
of little Ummas, Umma
Little
Abedins.
Umma
Yep.
Abedins, exactly right. And they're in Tallahassee, and they're getting close to politicians and becoming their best friends, just like you would run a great influence operation. I mean, you just don't come up and all of a sudden, hey, you want to buy my product? You get in there and you make friends, you make associations, you take them out to dinner and all that other good stuff.
Except in this case, it's not really a product that he's selling. He's selling an anti-product.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, he's selling people away
selling
from their
jihad.
common sense and recognizing what a bad idea is, what evil is, what anti-Americanism is, and getting people to switch their brains off that way. And because of political correctness, it's easy.
Yep. And the assumption has to be that the product he's selling, as Damon read and as he articulated, Mr. Bedier, the assumption, it's assumption for our study, our investigation over the next 2 days. It's not an assumption for us. We've done the due diligence and the analysis. The product he's selling is anti-American, anti-Jewish, anti-Western. It's a pro-Muslim Brotherhood product. Now, because we are living in a postmodern world where we have knee-jerk reactions when someone takes a position and says, this is true and this is false, because that's the way most people think on a superficial level. Because they think on a superficial level, that's the way they respond. That doesn't mean that whatever somebody is selling is necessarily good for the receiver. In this case, he's selling the Muslim Brotherhood. It's bad. There's no good to anything in Muslim Brotherhood policies or doctrines. That's why he is an ideological enemy. Bedier is and needs to be fought, defeated, disabled, destroyed, his whole organization. But we're going to get into that. Right now, let's take a look at the video we shot 2.5 years ago when the Arab Spring was springing Arably.
Springs all over the springy place.
Springy springs were going, and everybody's going, oh, this is so
for
wonderful.
Egypt and
Look at this.
Libya.
And Obama's going, you see, I waved
I have
my
my
hand
magic
over
Arab
Cairo.
spring. And spring
Fairy
spring.
dust.
And we took the
Yeah,
we took the contrarian view. Take a
Yeah.
look-see.
because that's what they have in
Hi,
Twinkle
Tom
City.
Trento here with another insightful look at the Muslim Brotherhood and its threat to freedom-loving people worldwide. Today we're going to connect the dots, and we're going to start in October 2010 in Egypt. Back then, just a few months ago, an individual by the name of Ahmed Bedier, a veterinarian doctor, issued a call for jihad against Israel and the United States, October 2010. And rest assured, this was not your kind of warm and fuzzy, looking for a peaceful place in Islam jihad. This is your Quranic, violent, obliterate the infidel jihad. You got to see these by videos. Ahmed Bedier in October of 2010, veterinarian doctor. Connect the dots. Let's go to January 8th, 2011. Location, once again, that wild and wacky Egypt, this time at Al-Azhar University. Al-Azhar would be comparable to taking our Harvard and Yale and Princeton and Columbia and pushing them all together. And Al-Azhar is the definitive epitome of Islamic thought, of Sharia jurisprudence. Well, a doctor by the name of Ahmad Mustafa, philosophical Islamic scholar, issued what's called an offensive fatwa, a religious ruling, January 8th, 2011. And the context for his religious ruling is very simple. He said that if a governmental entity suppresses the advancement of Sharia Islam, whether by limiting the clothing they wear or the building of mosques or the establishment of a parallel legal system, then it's legitimate to implement jihad on that government. That was January 2011. Let's jump forward to January 16th, just a week later. Where? Connect the dots. Once again, Egypt. What happened on January 16th, 2011 in Egypt? If you connect the dots, folks, you're not going to believe this. But on January 16th, 2011 in Egypt, the Muslim Brotherhood leadership got together and selected their supreme guide, the top individual to lead millions of Muslim Brotherhood followers worldwide in a quest to reestablish the caliphate and implement Sharia worldwide. Who did they select on January 16th? How about the veterinarian doctor Ahmed Bedier? Ahmed Bedier, the guy that called for a violent jihad against the United States and Israel, is now the supreme guide of the Muslim Brotherhood.
It's still
January 16th, just a few weeks ago.
I thought
What
it was
happened a
just
few days
political.
later? Tunisia erupts. Then Egypt erupts. Jordan, Yemen, on the bank of falling apart, on the brink of falling apart. What's next? Israel is on high alert. The United States is in a quandary. If you do not see the fingerprints of the Muslim Brotherhood behind the upheaval in the Middle East right now, then you're
upheaval.
incapable of recognizing that Iran is building a nuclear bomb.
2.5 years
This is serious and disturbing information to have an individual calling for jihad being the leader of the Muslim Brotherhood. Well, that's what's happening.
Okay,
Now,
let's
you may
stop
say,
it there. That's what's happening
Right.
2.5 years ago.
Does it ever
And
stop
this,
happening?
And understanding that this is when the media says, "Oh no, the Muslim Brotherhood has nothing to do with any of this stuff. This is all just an uprising by the people. It's a secular movement. Oh, we're all just lovey-dovey. It's an Arab Spring. Oh, woo!" And that's what they were all saying.
It's not. Well, it's not just the media. It's the administration.
Administration,
It's
politicians.
It's rhinos.
Yep, rhinos.
Okay, your John McCain and Lindsey Graham's.
Now, just to give you an idea how full circle this has come, CNN and MSNBC are now calling, well, the former Muslim Brotherhood takeover of the government from Mubarak
Oh,
is now being replaced by the military coup that is happening now.
Well, folks, what happened now, the video you just heard, and for those of you driving in your car, that little 2 or 3 minute piece was February 10th, 2011. There's about 8 or 9 more minutes where we go in a detailed fashion to say exactly what we believe was going to happen, which is exactly what has happened now. We may play more parts of it. But go to the archives after you listen to the show.
yeah. Where is the archive for that, Mark?
Where's
Is
the
that
archive?
is that on
Oh,
the
that's-
United
that's
West or
actually
is that
on
on
the,
YouTube?
That's under the J. Mark Campbell archives.
Oh, that one is?
Yeah,
Oh,
just
okay.
Google in.
Fight the Muslim Brotherhood,
Muslim
Tom
Brotherhood,
Trento.
right.
Just Google that, you'll get it.
Speaking of Amar Bedi,
Actually,
his son.
Hold on. Let me
sorry.
pull that up, Damon. And yeah, this is actually very important. It goes right in point of where you're talking about. Sorry to interrupt, but it is actually quite important.
That's Mohammed Bedi on the screen right now, the supreme ruler, they call him, of the Muslim Brotherhood.
It's
Yes.
a guy-
Kind of like the Ayatollah for the Sunnis.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, it'd be like the Ayatollah of rock and roll type of thing. But his son was just killed in the protest where, we're going to talk about another person's relative was killed. So what do
He
you
was
imagine?
martyred.
He
His
was
son was
martyred.
martyred.
What does he have in common?
Yes.
The supreme leader, the supreme guide of the Muslim Brotherhood's son was killed in the peaceful protests last week.
Just like you were talking about. Now, is this going to make him more dedicated or less dedicated
Yeah,
to the
yeah.
cause? So
Well, we already showed that those protests are not real anyway. They're staged,
Or
and they're killing their own
and
to
they are
get
starting to
sympathy.
fight back.
Yeah.
What happened? Now we're gonna piece all of this together chronologically. So this is the kind of show, folks, where you may have to back it up, and you can do that on our archives, the youtube.com/the United West. We just showed. We gave a little introduction. We did a little breastwork there. Then we did our introduction. Then we showed this video. Now, over this weekend, because it's 38 minutes after 5 o'clock right now, on the 19th, Monday, this past weekend was insane. 57 churches burnt and destroyed by the Muslim Brotherhood. They're doing that because the Coptic Christians, which are about 10% of the 86 million, sided with the military to throw Morsi out. So now there's retribution against the very weak and very limited in capability Christians. They're being devastated. But on
I have to disagree with you slightly on
Go ahead.
this, okay? Because during the whole period of time in which the Muslim Brotherhood was in power, the Brotherhood
still-
specifically went after the Coptic Christians as part of their ethnic cleansing that they were doing, religious cleansing that they were doing in
even
Egypt.
Bob Beckel was upset about that, and Bob Beckel.
Yeah, but it's been accelerated to the point where they have teams going in with red graffiti, spraying on the outside of the buildings, and then follow-up teams are coming, burning, looting, and destroying
Like Passover in reverse.
I mean, it's really disgusting, and I don't understand why Christians worldwide they're silent,
Right.
absolutely silent about this.
But one of the main
Hundreds and hundreds, thousands of Egyptian
To complain would be
Christians
Islamophobic.
have been murdered,
They're frightened. Most Christians
slaughtered,
are frightened.
slaughtered by Islamists.
But who is
in
a
Egypt.
spokesperson for this whole stuff that is emerging out of this whole chaos and all this violence over in the Middle East, the Coptic Christian killing? It's none other than our friend Ahmed Bedier.
Well, this is the interesting part. And on your point, CJ, we'll do some shows on the attack of Muslims on Christians worldwide and why there's no Christian response. It just is not
We're all
only
over
It
counterintuitive.
is you. You're the attack on the Muslims.
It's not only is it counterintuitive, it's in contradistinction to Christian theology and philosophy to fight back. You turn the other cheek. True Christians don't fight. They
Right.
just, that's not what they're all about. And so it's easy to defeat them. Now, there is a doctrine.
That's why
tell that
Cassius
to all-
Clay
That's
converted.
nonsense. That's
Tom,
like
that's-
saying all
Tom,
Christians are
Tom,
Quakers or something.
Tell that to
That's-
all those crosses in Normandy Beach.
Yeah, well, all right. But I'm
I completely
going
disagree
to
with you on
keep. No, that person was fighting as a citizen of the United States, not fighting for the sake of Christianity. Big difference. But that's
Right.
another issue.
Okay.
But some people in the Middle Ages said, "Hell with that." They put on their mail, got on their horses, and they went and fought the Crusades. Here's the chronology. We showed the video of our prediction of the Arab Spring imploding, exploding, both
Right.
at the same time. And right now we're going to show a video. We're going to jump from 2.5 years ago. We told you that there's a lot of chaos in Egypt right now. 38 Muslim brothers were killed by the military over the weekend in where there was an effort to take a police officer hostage, and the military killed 38 brothers. In retribution, just a little bit ago,
Yeah.
in Rafah on the Gaza border and the Sinai, 25 military or police on the
Police.
Egyptian side were killed in an ambush now by the brothers joining with guess who?
Hamas.
Right.
Well, Hamas and Al Qaeda.
Yeah.
They're all the jihadis are coming out.
Yeah.
But let's jump. Here's our topic for the next day or two, Ahmed Bedier. In the midst of this insanity, and right now the eyes of the globe are on Egypt. In the midst of that, and people got to understand, we deal with Ahmed Bedier on a pretty regular basis.
Right.
But we didn't expect to see him popping up in the middle of the international global crisis in Cairo. Take a look at this video. It's a little tough. There's dead bodies in it, and the message is a little tough, but it's very important
And
to
this one is
understand
by
our
CBS
subject.
News, is what we're going to be showing.
It's CBS News, yeah.
Okay.
Here we go.
This is the CBS Evening News with Scott Pelley. Good evening. With the
August.
death toll mounting in
Thursday.
Egypt, so too is worldwide condemnation of the brutal crackdown on supporters of President Mohamed Morsi, who was ousted last month in a military coup. There were mass funerals today. The military rulers behind the crackdown said 638 have been killed since yesterday, with thousands hurt. But the toll could be much higher, as
it is.
evidenced by the hundreds of bodies lined up at a Cairo mosque. Burned out buildings speak to the destruction left by yesterday's battles. Charlie D'Agata begins our coverage tonight in Cairo. Charlie?
Scott, tonight Egypt is under lockdown, not only under a state of emergency, but under a nighttime curfew. And today the interim government announced that police can use lethal force to protect themselves and state institutions. And this comes at a time when people are in shock over yesterday's attack. Inside the Al Imam Mosque today, we saw the human face of the suffering caused by yesterday's brutal crackdown. There were rows and rows of bodies wrapped in shrouds. They were covered in bags of ice to keep them from decomposing in the stifling heat. People sprayed air freshener in a futile attempt to combat the stench of decay. All day long, there's been a steady stream of bodies leaving this mosque and frantic relatives arriving, hoping to find their loved ones and bring them out for burial.
I just want to stop here for 1 second. You notice the tonality of this report, how it's all very sympathetic to the Muslim Brotherhood cause and very, very sympathetic to everything, and that how the tonality is just so far. It's not that these guys actually went after the military, shooting at them, and the military shot back. So
Yeah, it's yes, that's very noticeable.
right. So
But for many, the nightmare wasn't over.
This is Amir.
This is Amir. Ahmed Bedier came to Egypt from his home in Tampa, Florida, to attend a family wedding this week. His brother lives in Cairo. He took a break from the demonstrations he was taking part in to go to.
He got a chance to see the whole family, and he said goodbye to all of us.
And that was the last time you saw him.
Yeah, that was us. We didn't know it was going to be the last time.
The father of 2 young girls was among the protesters. Early this morning, Ahmed came to the mosque and saw he was also among the victims.
It was too emotional. He was too young to die.
He said when he tried to take his brother home, he faced another outrage from the government. When you came to retrieve your brother's body, what did they tell you?
They said if you want to take the body now, you have to sign the document. You have to agree that this was natural death.
Natural death.
He died of natural causes. That's what it would say on the death certificate. When there's an obvious gunshot wound to his neck.
He's not alone. Others in the mosque complained about the same thing.
My brother's number here at this makeshift morgue is 261. I know at least there's 261 bodies here that are dead. Some of them are charred. Some of them are children. When you see that, it's so overwhelming. I've never seen so much death.
Now, we're getting late reports tonight, Scott, that mosque has come under siege from security forces, first using tear gas, then live ammunition. It must be said we're getting this information from the Muslim Brotherhood supporters of ousted President Mohamed Morsi.
Charlie D'Agata with our team in Cairo. Charlie, thanks very much.
Thank you for that unbiased report, Charlie.
And what happened at that point was they had to go in. The military and the police had to go in and extricate the people, and I think 37 more died in that exchange. That was last week. But the issue right now for us, and the topic of our investigation, is Ahmed Bedier. And that was Ahmed Bedier you heard doing the giving his view of what took place. And for those of you in the cars listening, for those of you watching this, you saw the footage, you saw the fact that there was B-roll of his brother, photos of his brother. You saw the footage. You saw the footage that Ahmed Bedier actually pulled the death shroud apart along Amir's face, let the camera zoom in on his dead brother's face. So when we saw this, we questioned whether or not we wanted to show this footage. One, out of just respect for somebody dying, and then it hit us. Wait a minute. Ahmed Bedier went on international television to the globe to show this. Right. He chose to have that information communicated, so we said, well, of course we'll show it.
Yeah,
now, my
did you
question,
see how perfectly shaven he was?
Yeah.
Who?
Bedier.
Not Amir.
Amir.
Let me set the pre-scene. For
wait. Let's hear this first. What is your point?
No, if you look at the footage, he didn't need to shave.
Oh no, right.
Okay,
no.
He's perfectly trimmed. Like
Yes.
he's freshly clean, shaven, crisp white shirt, everything. When he's going to this mosque where there's no air conditioning, where there's hundreds of dead bodies, not even breaking a sweat. I mean, obviously, the guy was ready to get interviewed before he went there.
Well,
it probably was set up in advance.
Let me set the typical scene for you, because I do a lot of the video cameraing, and I'm at the different with all these same guys. All right, I know I've seen Charlie D'Agata and all these other knuckleheads floating around there, and they're looking for stuff. And when they go into an area, first of all, they don't speak the language.
Yeah.
And they have translators that's come back to them and tell
We
them
got
what's
an
going on.
American.
Now, understanding they're going into the Cairo mosque, the head of the Muslim Brotherhood, the head of military operations for this battle that just happened, and total chaos. They don't know who to talk to. They don't know who to interview. They want an American voice on the TV. Now, Ahmed Bedier knows all this. And he's just sitting there waiting like a cat to pounce on these guys because he's a professional interviewer. He goes on all these different programs, all these different shows, and he knows exactly what he's doing.
Let's.
He's not even the eldest brother of the family. Right?
And these
He
news
has
people-
several other brothers who live in
couple other
Egypt.
brothers, yep.
And why is he the one at the mosque doing the identification anyway?
In terms of our analysis of whether or not Bedier is a secret agent man, whether he's an agent of influence for the Muslim Brotherhood, this piece of information, this piece of video is very significant evidence leading to an affirmation of the hypothesis, yes, he's an agent of the Brotherhood. First of all, that facility, that mosque, was the de facto military base, headquarters of the
for the
Brotherhood.
Muslim Brotherhood, right?
Yeah.
You don't just, hey, what's going on? Can I come in here and look around? You got dead bodies. There's no way you can get into that place unless you are
Unless
highly
you're,
approved.
like,
He didn't get
Cleared
wrong
and
complexion,
cleared and
wrong
cleared.
connection.
What
Yeah.
I'm trying to say, the camera crew is they see the camera crew there, and they're inside the Muslim Brotherhood headquarters. They're going to steer the most well-spoken spokesperson out in front of the cameras.
Or it could be the other way around. The Brotherhood is there. They need positive press. You know, they need this emotional
They need
press,
useful
all of
idiots
that.
in the press.
And they need the United States to hang with. This is critically important. The connection we're making, folks, is Bedier to Obama. All right, and part of it is Obama has to stick with the Muslim Brotherhood, stop funding the military, and keep pushing to have Morsi reinstated as the president. That's the perfect plan for the Brotherhood. If he is an influence agent, then his job is to communicate back home to America and set the context for Obama supporting the Brotherhood.
Yeah.
So he's there now. Wedding,
Give me a break.
Yeah.
He was there
Yeah.
before. Yeah.
But wait
How
a
many-
minute.
What was his last?
You know,
dispute? Did he have another wedding?
one thing you did skip
break.
is that Amir Bedier, not even a year ago,
He's a jihadi.
Yeah, we didn't get into any of that yet.
Didn't he get shot in the face
Yes.
at one of those other
we
protests?
have all this evidence.
And didn't Ahmed Bedier put out statements in support of his brother and his brother's
He's a
political
total
activities
jihadi.
at that time?
On the screen right now is an article that Joe Kaufman wrote a couple of months ago about Amir Bedier, the deceased. And in our work, folks, we can fight these ideological battles that are critically important. In an email we put out last night in preparation for this show, and we're going after Bedier to expose him for the agent that he is. But we did say that we extend our condolences as an organization to the Bedier family for the loss of their son Amir. You lose a child, you lose a family member. That's very, very difficult, and our condolences. Having said that, put in context, Amir Bedier was a jihadi. He was
an
a
active-
Muslim Brotherhood jihadi.
Not a stealth one.
No.
No, a full-out, blown-out, shoot 'em,
Yeah.
jihadi.
And the way that Ahmed Bedier and the brothers position the jihadis, they are the peace demonstrators.
Right.
They are for civil rights. They are for all of this stuff.
Absolutely not.
And the information we've gotten through investigation of Amir and his associations with terrorists, it's very, very clear that Amir was on the side of the aggressive component. This is Amir on the
Before he was
screen now.
He's still alive there.
Yeah,
he's still alive,
that's when he
right?
got shot in the face. Was that a year ago?
That was in
that
December.
was a year ago.
In
December.
December. okay.
December 12th.
During another dust up in Egypt. And Ahmed, back in December, laid out a whole apologetic for his brother's great work, and it was the evil people. Now, so the question we're raising at 54 minutes after 5 o'clock: what is Ahmed Bedier doing in Egypt? He said he was there for a wedding. Well, if you check the record, He was also there February of
Thank you.
2011. What happened in February of 2011?
Oh,
he was waving the. Go ahead.
He was waving the flag into Tahrir Square, wasn't he?
Ahmed Bedier
Pro Morsi,
took part. Here, look at
fake
this.
Arab Spring.
Right.
There's on the screen right now. We have a picture of Ahmed Bedier in Tahrir Square during the initial phase of the Arab Spring in Egypt. This is February 2011.
That
He's
was
waving the
supporting the ousting of Mubarak.
Well,
throwing Mubarak out, supporting the Muslim Brotherhood's takeover of the country.
now he was also out there a big, huge proponent, saying this is a secular movement, has nothing to do with the Muslim Brotherhood.
Right,
This is all
right.
by the people, and they bought it.
Yeah, and
You
then
know?
when he came back to the U.S., where did he go twice?
Well, and now here's a picture. This is Bedier standing with fellow revolutionaries
Yeah,
in
look at
front
this
of
picture.
a tank. Remember, the military turned against Mubarak
Right.
and moved the Brotherhood in. This is February 2011. Ahmed Bedier standing with the revolutionaries, throwing President Hosni Mubarak out, who, by the way, today,
Yeah.
19 August,
Mubarak for president.
General
I don't think
Al-Fatah al-Sisi released Mubarak today.
He's still not out.
He's getting out.
He's
gonna
He's not
run.
physically.
He got
He's not
He's
sprung.
gonna run.
They're
He's
going
not
to rerun
physically
him for
out.
president. Mubarak's going to be the president again, and everything will be fine.
How old is he anyway?
85.
He's
Yeah.
a young 85.
His hair, he doesn't have, I got gray hair. He doesn't even have gray hair. No Egyptian potentate, ruler, totalitarian guy has gray hair. They all have
So-
jet black hair.
But I want to get back to these photos that you were just showing. Now, this is not something we went out there and found and dug up and got from some other person who took a picture of him with him here. In
Him
front of
being
these,
Bedier. No.
Right.
These
Yeah.
are his.
These are his.
These are his. Yeah.
He
Honest-
proudly
Yeah.
said, I was part of the revolution in 2011,
Right.
and he's been a supporter of the Muslim Brotherhood
Yeah.
since then. CJ raised the question, where did Mr. Bedier, Ahmed Bedier, Florida resident, Tampa resident, on the Human Rights Commission in Tampa,
he's the president.
was a national and Florida leader of the organization CARE. Tomorrow's show, we're going to get into a lot of these details. When he returned from Cairo, Egypt, 2011, on his way back to Florida, he stopped, guess where?
Guess where?
The White House?
Really?
Yes.
The
Ding, ding,
Bianco
ding,
house.
ding.
The Bianco house.
Casa
Yes.
de Blanco?
Casa de Blanco.
Casa de Blanca.
So we
Yes, he stopped at the White House 2 times. He had 2 meetings in the White House after returning from Egypt. Why, pray tell, was he in the White House after Egypt?
it's a secular
know.
To
revolution. and
influence.
it's
To peddle influence.
pedal influence inside the White House, obviously. I mean, how do you think
He was probably just invited for movie night with the family.
Yeah. He just he was hot off the press from Egypt during the he's standing in the middle of the thing. He's posting Facebook pictures that he's in the
Maybe
middle
the
of the
president
revolution.
invited him to play cards.
What do we have? About a minute left, I think?
Yes. 1 minute.
1 minute. Yeah. Here's what we're doing, folks. We have a minute left in today's show, August 19th, Monday. We're going to do part 2 tomorrow. We may even do this in 3 parts. It's that important.
Right.
Not only for everyone in Florida, 19 million citizens, but all Americans. Because right now, Ahmed Bedier has returned from Cairo, Egypt, to Florida. Next week, he's going to be speaking in Washington, D.C., at the largest meeting of Muslim brothers in the United States
Muslim
of
brothers
America.
and sisters.
ISNA, Islamic Society of North America, an organization that is listed as a co-conspirator in a terrorist funding trial. Ahmed Bedier now has battle badges, combat badges. He's been out there on the front lines. He's lost a loved
Covered
one.
in blood.
He's a headliner.
He is a headliner. He is going to be a star in America. If he's an agent of influence for the Brotherhood, we need to expose it. We need to stop it. Stay tuned for tomorrow's show.